uncertainty. Of course, that's why we're here. How did you feel? How did the emotions that you felt and you saw in others affect your decision making? Do you know? And what about the context of your organization? To what extent did the processes, the politics, the people around you, the culture affect that decision? As a social scientist, I'm really interested in bringing social science to understanding risk, to understanding how we manage disasters, how we understand the effect on people, and to enhance the analysis, these kind of, the models that you've all heard about, all the quantitative stuff, bring social science to that. But what I'm also kind of a bit more interested in the setting within which we make these decisions. That moment, that office where you're at. To sort of, how do you bring the lived experience, the lived reality of decision making in those kinds of settings? How do you analyze it? How do you understand it? Because emotions are typically things that we tend to sort of background. We don't like to talk about them, particularly, men. We tend to sort of hide from it. We tend to think that maybe it's some kind of like a bias, like a noise in the background. We tend to think the context within which we're making these decisions isn't really important. I don't think I've listened to all these fabulous talks today, that the sessions tomorrow and day after. I've not heard anything about kind of emotions and the lived experience. So that's what we're going to try and explore. And I'm going to bring together a panel of 5 really terrific leading experts in this kind of area, kind of researchers on the one side and practitioners on the other. We've got David Tuckett, who's been a sociologist, he's been an economist, but most recently he's using psychoanalysis approaches to understand the emotions that we go to and creating concepts like fantastic objects and narrative, and using the role of narratives and the way we explain our own decisions to ourselves and the emotions that are carried with that. We've got Paula Jarzabkowski, who's using ethnography in reinsurance companies to try and explore how the processes and practices within an organization affect the decisions that they make and the way in which they manage risk. We've got Pablo Suarez. I don't need to say much more about him, but we do say that he's world premiering a new game tomorrow. And if you want to experience that, you can come along to the session. We've also got Yasuhito Jibiki and Irina Rafliana.